For Christmas, I received a massive delivery box. When I opened it, I found my icy, high-maintenance ex-girlfriend inside. She was wearing a cat-eared maid outfit, a gold bow around her neck, and with red, puffy eyes, she begged me, "Master, please sign for the delivery." The whole world lived in fear of her, but only I knew the truth. She was insane, and she was insane only for me. It was Christmas Eve, and the snow was coming down hard in Chicago. I had just dropped off my last DoorDash order, rubbing my frozen hands together as I returned to my cramped, 300-square-foot studio apartment. I didn't bother turning on the lights. The neon glow from the city outside washed the room in a cold, blue haze. My phone buzzed, a mass text in a group chat. "Merry Christmas." I exhaled a cloud of white mist and deleted it. Marry my ass. Suddenly, a violent pounding echoed from the door. Thud, thud, thud. I frowned. Who would be here at this hour? I opened the door to find a delivery guy in a heavy winter coat, shivering and pointing at a gigantic cardboard box on the floor. The box was nearly 6 feet tall, wrapped in deep crimson paper, and topped with an exaggerated gold bow. "Sir, your package." The delivery guy's voice was trembling, his face pale, as if he'd seen a ghost. "I didn't order anything." I eyed him warily. It's addressed to you, specifically. Mr. Caleb Stone." He handed me the digital pad with shaking hands. "Please just sign it quickly. My truck is double parked downstairs." As soon as I scribbled my signature, he didn't even wait for a response. He practically scrambled into the elevator. I looked at the bizarre box, a creeping sense of dread settling in my gut. What the hell was this? A prank? It took every ounce of strength I had to drag the box inside. It was heavy and it seemed to be shifting slightly. I swallowed hard, grabbed a utility knife from the kitchen drawer, and carefully sliced through the tape. As the wrapping paper tore away, a pristine white box was revealed. Embossed in gold foil were the words, "Exclusive gift. Please handle with care." The unease in my chest grew heavier. I took a deep breath and threw the lid open. In that instant, the blood in my veins turned to ice. Curled up inside the box was a woman. She was dressed in a black and white frilled maid outfit, complete with cat ears. A gold bow, identical to the one on the box, was tied around her slender neck. Her long, snow-white hair fanned out around her, framing a face that was etched into my memory, a face that looked more exquisite and more pale than I remembered. It was Serena Vance, my ex-girlfriend, the heiress who had dumped me 6 months ago, looking down her nose at me, ending our relationship with a single text message. Hearing the movement, she slowly lifted her head. Those eyes, which used to be filled with glacial indifference, were now swimming with tears, the rims red and raw. She looked like a small animal abandoned by the entire world. She looked at me, her lips trembling, her voice raspy and fragile. "Master, you finally signed for me." My brain short-circuited for 3 seconds. Then a wave of absurd, boiling anger shot straight to my head. "Serena, what the hell kind of game are you playing?" I grabbed her wrist, intending to yank her out of the box. Her skin was as cold as frozen meat, her wrist so thin it felt like it might snap. As I pulled, her legs gave out, and she collapsed into my arms, her body shaking violently. "Master, don't return me." She clutched the hem of my shirt, tears falling like broken pearls. "I promise I'll be good. I'll listen to you. I'll do anything. Please, just don't throw me away." I looked at her, this vision of utter subservience, and felt only alienation and ridicule. Was this the heiress of the Vance Empire? Was this the Serena Vance who only wore haute couture, looked down on everyone, and thought speaking an extra word was a waste of breath? "Are you crazy?" I shook her hand off and took a step back, putting distance between us. She stumbled from the force of my rejection, falling onto the cold floor. She looked up at me, and the light in her eyes shattered instantly. "I'm not crazy," she murmured, as if reassuring herself, or maybe me. I missed you too much, Caleb. I missed you so much I thought I was going to die." As she spoke, she reached into the corner of the box and pulled out a small remote and a keyring. She held them out to me. "This is mine. All of it." I looked down. It was a digital security key for a bank account and a set of car and house keys. 50% of the Vance Corporation shares, all the real estate in my name, the cars, and... She paused, raising a hand to point at the bow on her neck. "And me, Caleb, from now on, they are all yours. I'm yours too." Looking at her tear-stained face, I felt like an invisible hand was squeezing my heart. I would have preferred she look at me with those cold eyes like before, or curse me with the vilest language. That would be better than this, treating herself like an object, wagging her tail, and begging for pity. "Serena, I don't want your stuff. My voice was as cold as the wind outside. I want you to get the hell out of my apartment. Now. Her body shuddered violently, the blood draining from her face. No. She lunged forward, hugging my legs, wailing with heart-wrenching desperation. Caleb, you can't do this to me. You can't. If you don't want me, I'll die. I'll really die. I tried to shake her off, but her grip was like iron, like a drowning woman clutching the last piece of driftwood. Just then, the banging on the door returned, more aggressive than before. Caleb, open up. I know you're in there. Pay your rent. It was Mrs. Higgins, the landlady. My patience snapped. I'll give it to you tomorrow. Tomorrow? You say that every day. If you don't pay up, pack your shit and get out tonight. Just a filthy delivery boy, thinking you're somebody. Mrs. Higgins screamed through the door. My temples throbbed with anger. But in my arms, Serena suddenly stopped crying. She slowly lifted her head. In those red, swollen eyes, a flash of that familiar, bone-chilling coldness returned. She let go of me, stood up, walked to the door, and looked through the peephole. Then, she pulled out her own phone and dialed a number. It's me. Her voice returned to its former icy detachment, devoid of emotion. 3 minutes. I want the woman downstairs and her entire family to disappear from Chicago. Completely. Before I could even process what she meant by disappear, the yelling outside stopped abruptly. It was replaced by a terrified scream and the sound of a phone shattering on the floor. Then came Mrs. Higgins' voice, sobbing, incoherent, begging for mercy. I was wrong. I was really wrong. Please let me go. I won't do it again. I'll move out right now. I'll never come back here. The voice faded away, disappearing down the hallway. The world fell silent. I stared at Serena, dumbfounded. She hung up the phone as if she had just completed a trivial task, then turned back to me. The murderous aura vanished instantly, and she reverted to the shivering, fragile kitten. Caleb, she said timidly, she won't bother you anymore. My throat was dry. What? What did you do to her? Nothing, she said lightly. I just made her understand who the real master is. She walked up to me, carefully took my hand, and placed it on top of her head. Caleb, you are the master here. In this world, only you are allowed to bully me. Her hair was soft and cool to the touch. My hand froze in midair, unsure whether to pet her or pull away. I looked at her upturned face, written with submission and dependency, and my mind was in chaos. An hour ago, I was a delivery driver worried about rent. An hour later, I was the master of the most powerful woman in the city. What the hell was happening? Serena, we broke up, I said, trying to inject some reality into the situation. No. She shook her head stubbornly, her eyes reddening again. You just didn't want me anymore. It's okay. I'm back now. I'm giving myself to you. You can do whatever you want with me. You can hit me, curse at me, or do anything you want. As she spoke, a feverish, unnatural flush rose on her cheeks. I looked at her and suddenly understood. She wasn't joking. She was serious. She saw herself as a sacrificial offering for atonement, and I was her only god. This realization sent a chill down my spine. Get up first. I sighed, my voice softening. The floor was freezing. Hearing the shift in my tone, her eyes lit up. She scrambled up from the floor like a robot awaiting a command. Go take a shower and change your clothes. I pointed to the bathroom. That maid outfit is hurting my eyes. Okay. She nodded obediently, then paused, as if realizing something. Master, where do I sleep? I looked around the 300-square-foot studio with its single twin bed and fell silent. In the end, I slept on the floor. I gave a narrow twin bed to the noble Miss Vance. I spread a few old jackets on the hardwood, my bones aching against the floorboards. A few feet away on the bed, Serena seemed unable to sleep, tossing and turning. In the darkness, I could hear her suppressed, shallow breathing. Caleb, she spoke suddenly. Yeah. Are you cold? No. Is the floor hard? It's fine. Silence. A moment later, she spoke again, her voice tinged with a subtle grievance. The bed. It's really big. I closed my eyes, pretending not to hear. Is she kidding? Letting her take the bed was already my limit. Another silence followed. I almost thought she had fallen asleep when I heard a rustling sound next to me. I snapped my eyes open to see a dark shadow sliding silently off the bed, inching toward me across the floor. What are you doing? I whispered sharply. The shadow flinched, freezing in place. It was Serena. She was wearing one of my old t-shirts. The oversized fabric swallowed her frame, making her look even smaller and frilier. I'm scared, she whispered in the dark, her voice barely audible. Scared of what? Think there are ghosts in here? I asked impatiently. I'm scared that when the sun comes up, you won't want me anymore. Her voice cracked with tears. I'm afraid I'll open my eyes and you'll be gone again. My heart felt like it had been pricked by a needle. 6 months ago, I had left without saying goodbye. That day, her mother had found me, thrown a check for $1 million in my face, and told me to leave Serena forever. I didn't take the check, but I left, because I knew there was an unbridgeable chasm between us. I thought it was the best choice for both of us. I never imagined it would push her to this point. Come up here, I sighed, scooting inward to make a sliver of space on the makeshift floor bed. She froze, then acted as if she had received a divine blessing. She scrambled over, lying down tightly against the wall, pressing herself as close to the edge as possible, terrified of touching me. I could feel the tension and caution in her body. We didn't speak the rest of the night. When I woke up the next day, the space beside me was empty. My heart jumped, and I sat up abruptly. Did she leave? Good. I laughed bitterly, but my chest felt hollow. Just then, a sizzling sound came from the kitchen area. I walked over and saw Serena frantically try to fry eggs at the stove. She was still wearing my t-shirt, a smudge of flour on her face, looking like a cat that got into the pantry. The eggs in the pan were half burnt, but she didn't seem to notice, focusing intensely on cracking another egg into a bowl. Half the shell fell in with the yolk. That clumsy display. Where was the ruthless CEO, Serena Vance? Hearing me, she turned around. Her eyes lit up. Master, you're awake? She presented the plate of charred eggs like a treasure. I made breakfast for you. I looked at the culinary disaster, then at her expectant eyes. I picked up a fork, stabbed a piece, and put it in my mouth. Bitter, acrid, and burnt. Is it good? She asked nervously. I swallowed it without expression. It's good. She smiled. That smile was like the warmest winter sun, instantly illuminating the gloomy apartment. After finishing that unforgettable breakfast, I decided to take her out to buy some decent clothes. She couldn't keep wearing my old shirts. Are we going to the mall? Her eyes sparkled like a kid going on a field trip. No. I refused flatly. Are you kidding? If I took her to the Magnificent Mile, the headlines tomorrow would read, Vance Corp CEO spotted with mystery man at discount store, romance suspected. I just want a quiet life. I took her to a discount outlet store down the block. The shop was tiny, clothes piled in messy heaps. Serena had obviously never been to a place like this. She frowned as soon as we walked in, but seeing me, she immediately suppressed her disgust and tried to look interested. I grabbed 2 hoodies and a pair of jeans for her. Go try them on. She took the clothes and obediently went into the cramped fitting room. I stood outside, wondering what the hell I was going to do next. Was I really going to let her stay? Well, if it isn't Caleb Stone. A sleazy voice sounded behind me. I turned to see a man in a flashy suit, hair slicked back with too much gel. Braden Cole, a college classmate, a rich trust fund kid who never studied, and one of Serena's many pursuers. He looked me up and down, his eyes full of disdain. TSK, haven't seen you in years. Doing this badly, huh? Still shopping at the dollar store? I couldn't be bothered to reply. He wouldn't let it go. He leaned in, lowering his voice. I heard Serena dump you? Makes sense. How could a pauper like you deserve her? But don't be too sad. He patted my shoulder, grinning smugly. I'm about to close the deal with her. When we get engaged, I'll send you an invite so you can see what real class looks like. I stared at his punchable face, my fist clenching. Just as I was about to swing, the fitting room door opened. Serena walked out. She was wearing the white hoodie and jeans I picked. Her hair was loose, her face bare of makeup, yet she was breathtakingly beautiful. Braden saw her, and his eyes practically popped out of his head. He instantly switched to a fawning smile. Serena, what are you doing here? What a coincidence. He reached out to grab her arm as he spoke. Serena didn't even glance at him. She walked straight to my side, naturally linked her arm through mine, and rested her head on my shoulder. Then, she lifted her eyes to look at Braden. In that instant, the temperature in her gaze dropped below absolute zero. Braden Cole. Her voice wasn't loud, but it carried an undeniable authority. I give you 1 minute. Get out of my sight. Otherwise, by tomorrow morning, Cole Industries will no longer exist. A smile froze on Braden's face. He looked at Serena in disbelief, then at me, as if watching a fantasy movie. Serena, you're joking, right? For this poor loser. Serena didn't speak again. She simply took out her phone and dialed a number. It's me, Acquire Cole Industries. Yes, right now. She hung up. The whole process took less than 10 seconds. Braden's phone started ringing frantically. He answered it with a trembling hand. His father's hysterical screaming came through the speaker, loud enough for me to hear. You idiot! Who did you offend? The company is done. It's all over. Braden's face turned whiter than a corpse. He dropped to his knees with a thud, a dark stain spreading across the front of his trousers. Ms. Vance, I was wrong. I was so wrong. He crawled toward Serena, snot and tears streaming down his face. Please, have mercy. Give us a way out. Serena didn't even lift an eyelid. She just held my arm tighter and asked softly, Master, can we go home? I looked at the absurd scene, pulled her along, and turned to walk out of the store. Back at the apartment, I finally exploded. Serena Vance. I pinned her against the wall, staring into her eyes. What exactly are you trying to do? You just acquire a corporation on a whim? Do you know how many families depend on those jobs? I wasn't a saint, but I couldn't accept this casual destruction of lives. She was frightened by my anger, her body trembling uncontrollably. He insulted you, she whispered, her eyes reddening. If he insults me, I should be the one to punch him, not you destroying his entire family. I growled. I just wanted to protect you. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I don't want to see anyone bully you ever again. Before I didn't have the power. I could only watch helplessly as my mother forced you away. Now I have the power. If anyone dares to touch a hair on your head, I want them dead. Her voice was quiet, but it carried a terrifying resolve of mutual destruction. My heart shook violently. So, she knew everything. I was wrong. She suddenly interrupted me, lowering her head like a child who made a mistake. Master, don't be mad. I'll listen to you from now on. If you say don't touch him, I won't touch him. As she spoke, she raised her hand and slapped herself hard across the face. The crisp sound echoed in the small room. I was stunned. I immediately grabbed her hand. What are you doing? Her cheeks swelled up visibly, a trace of blood at the corner of her mouth. Yet she seemed not to feel the pain, looking up at me stubbornly. Master, are you still angry? If you're still angry, hit me. Just don't throw me away. I looked at her stubborn, fragile face, and the anger in my heart was instantly replaced by a wave of helplessness and heartache. What was I going to do with her? After that slap, Serena became even more cautious. She was like a shadow. Wherever I went, she followed. If I watched TV, she sat at my feet, resting her head on my knees. If I played video games, she brought me tea and massaged my shoulders. Even when I went to the bathroom at night, I'd open the door to find her sitting outside, hugging her knees, waiting for me. I warned her a few times not to do that. She would nod obediently every time, promising she wouldn't. But the next time, she did exactly the same thing. Eventually, I stopped trying to correct her. Habit is a terrifying thing. I even started getting used to waking up every morning to her breakfast, still terrible, but improving day by day. I got used to coming home to a light left on for me. That night, we were curled up on the couch watching a movie like a normal couple for once. It was some cheesy old romance flick. Watching the leads kiss in the rain, Serena suddenly buried her face in my chest and muffled, Caleb, do you love me? My hand on the remote froze. I didn't know how to answer that. Did I? I used to. And now? Was it pity? Responsibility? Or feelings rising from the ashes? Before I could find the words, she spoke again. It's okay. It doesn't matter if you don't love me. As long as you let me stay by your side, that's enough. Her voice was light, but it felt like a needle piercing the softest part of my heart. I turned off the TV and pulled her into my arms. Go to sleep. Just then my phone rang. It was an unknown number. I picked up, and a loud, boisterous voice came through. Caleb, my man, it's me, Mike Kowalski. Remember me? Top bunk, freshman year. Oh, Mike, I was surprised. Dude, we're having a class reunion this Saturday. You gotta come. Haven't seen you in years. Everyone's asking about you. I instinctively wanted to refuse. I didn't want to face those fake smiles and the boring comparisons of success. Don't give me that. You have to come. All the boys from the dorm are coming. You're the only one missing. Mike wouldn't take no for an answer. I'll text you the address. It's settled. The line went dead. I put down the phone, feeling a headache coming on. In my arms, Serena shifted. I looked down to see her eyes open, staring up at me with a dark intensity. Her gaze was like a deep, ancient well, radiating a chill. Class reunion? She asked. Are there female classmates? Yes. She fell silent. The air in the room seemed to drop 10 degrees in an instant. On Saturday, I went. I couldn't blow off Mike. Before we left, Serena was unusually quiet. She picked out a clean button-down shirt for me, fixed my collar, and even tried to tie my shoes before I stopped her. I'll be back tonight, I told her. She nodded, saying nothing, just standing in the doorway, watching me quietly. Her look was that of someone watching a soldier go off to war. The reunion was at a high-end hotel downtown. As soon as I walked in, I became the center of attention, mostly because I was dressed too simply. The guys were in tailored suits with expensive watches. The women were dripping in jewelry, the scent of their perfume thick enough to knock you over. Well, Caleb's here. A guy named Chad spoke up, his tone dripping with sarcasm. He'd always had a beef with me in college because I stole his thunder as the campus heartthrob. Heard you're delivering food now? Making money doing that. A ripple of laughter went through the group. Mike pulled my arm, signaling me to ignore him. I found a corner to sit in, not interested in wasting breath on these people. After a few rounds of drinks, a girl who used to have a crush on me, Ashley, sat down next to me with her wine glass. Caleb, long time no see. She smiled sweetly. You're just as handsome as ever. I am all right, he replied flatly. I heard. You and Serena Vance broke up? She asked, testing the waters. I didn't answer, which she took as a confirmation. Her eyes lit up, and she leaned in closer, practically pressing her body against mine. Actually, I always thought that Aries type didn't suit you at all. You deserve better. Her warm breath hit my ear, heavy with the smell of alcohol. I frowned, about to push her away. Is that so? An icy female voice cut through the noise from the doorway of the private suite. The entire room went silent instantly. Everyone turned to look. Standing at the door was a woman in a black evening gown, radiating an overwhelming aura of power. Behind her stood 2 rows of bodyguards in black suits and sunglasses. It was Serena. She was wearing exquisite makeup, her lips a fiery red, her gaze sharp as a knife. She walked in step by step, her high heels making no sound on the carpet, yet feeling like they were stomping on everyone's hearts. She walked right up to me, glancing at Ashley, who was practically hanging off me. Then she smiled. The smile was breathtakingly beautiful, yet so cold it chilled the bone. You said he deserves better? She reached out, gently gripping Ashley's chin and forcing her to look up. Then, tell me, in this world, who is better than me? Serena Vance. Ashley was terrified. Her face went pale, her lips trembling, unable to form a single word. The entire room was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Everyone was stunned by Serena's queen-like arrival. Chad was so scared he dropped his wine glass. It shattered with a crisp crash. Serena let go of Ashley, who immediately collapsed into her chair like a pile of mud. Serena didn't look at anyone else. She bent down, looking at me. The frost in her eyes melted instantly, replaced by a thick, dissolving grievance and attachment. Master, I came to take you home. That word, master, exploded like a bomb in everyone's ears. Everyone's eyes went wide, jaws hitting the floor. The CEO of the Vance Empire, calling a delivery guy, master? Had the world gone insane? I rubbed my forehead, headache pounding. I knew this would happen. I stood up and took her hand. Let's go home. Okay. She nodded obediently, letting me lead her out. As we passed Chad, I stopped. He was looking at me with pure terror, as if I were a monster. I smiled and patted his cheek. Watch your mouth in the future. With that, I pulled Serena out of the room under the petrified gaze of the crowd. As soon as we were out the door, Serena's body went limp, her whole weight leaning on me. Caleb, I was so scared. She buried her face in my chest, her voice trembling. Scared of what? I was scared you wouldn't want me. I was scared you'd leave with that woman. I saw her touching you. I wanted to chop her hands off. She was saying the most vicious things in my arms, yet shaking like a leaf in the wind. I sighed and hugged her tight. Am I not right here? In the future, don't pull stunts like this. I stroked her hair. If there's a problem, I'll handle it. But they were bullying you. I have my business too. I looked into her eyes, speaking slowly and clearly. Serena, I am not your pet, and you're not my accessory. We are equals. If you want to be with me, you have to learn to respect me. She stared at me blankly, seemingly processing my words. After a long time, she whispered, Are you willing to be with me? Looking at her eyes, filled with both hope and fear, the softest part of my heart was completely struck. Yeah. I lowered my head and kissed her lips. That kiss was like a switch. It completely opened the floodgates Serena had kept sealed for so long. Back home, she held me, and intermittently, she told me everything. It turned out that after I left, she had lost her mind. She locked herself in her room, refusing to eat or drink, withering away like a dying plant. Her mother, the woman who gave me the check, was afraid she would die, so she sent her abroad for mandatory psychiatric treatment. For 2 years in Switzerland, she thought about me every day. She hated her family for tearing us apart. So, she started to pretend. She pretended she was recovered, pretended she had forgotten me, and began actively cooperating with treatment and learning corporate management. Her disguise fooled everyone. Her family thought she had finally grown up and started gradually handing over company power to her. Meanwhile, in the shadows, step by step, she stripped her mother and the relatives who had opposed us of their authority. Until 6 months ago, when she took complete control of the Vance Empire. The first thing she did was send her mother to the same sanitarium she had been forced into. Give them a taste of their own medicine, she said, her eyes terrifyingly calm. Then, she started looking for me. She used all her resources, casting a net over the entire city. But she didn't dare appear in front of me directly. She was afraid. Afraid I still hated her, afraid I would turn and walk away if I saw her. She secretly observed me for a long time. She knew where I lived, when I left the house, when I came home, even which dumpling shop I liked. She was like a stalker, greedily spying on every detail of my life. Until Christmas. She couldn't take it anymore. She wanted to see me, wanted to return to my side in a way I absolutely couldn't refuse. So, she planned that shocking special delivery. Caleb, she cried. I know I'm despicable, I'm crazy, but I didn't have a choice. I can't lose you again. Listening to her story, my heart seized with pain. I couldn't imagine how she had survived those 2 years. The girl I once held in the palm of my hand had turned herself into a blood-stained blade just to get back to me. She had hurt others, but she had hurt herself even more. I held her tightly, kissing away the tears on her face again and again. I'm sorry, I said. I'm sorry, I didn't know. I don't blame you. She shook her head. It's all in the past. Caleb, I'm back now. You'll never be alone again. From now on, I'll protect you. I smiled. Idiot. I tapped her nose gently. From now on, I'll protect you. I thought the biggest obstacle had been cleared. I didn't expect the real storm was just beginning. The next day, my tiny apartment welcomed an unwanted guest. Serena's father, Victor Vance, a man past 50, but still radiating an oppressive aura. Behind him were 4 bodyguards, a lineup identical to Serena's the night before. As soon as he walked in, he scanned me from head to toe with hawk-like eyes, making no attempt to hide the contempt and disdain in his gaze. Serena instinctively stepped in front of me, like a mother hen protecting her chick. Dad, what are you doing here? Her voice was cold. What am I doing? Victor sneered. I'm here to take you home. Look at yourself. What have you become? Mixing with this trash? You've completely humiliated the Vance family. He is not trash, Serena retorted passionately. He is the man I love. Love. Victor sounded like he'd heard the world's biggest joke. A pauper? A delivery boy? What does he have to love you with? The smell of cheap sweat on his clothes. The words were piercing. I pulled Serena from in front of me and looked Victor straight in the eye. Mr. Vance, I began, my voice not loud but steady. You're right. I'm just a delivery guy right now. But I have hands and feet. I can support myself, and I can support her. And I won't be like certain people who, for the sake of so-called family interests, force their daughter to marry someone she doesn't love and drive her insane. Victor's face turned iron gray. You, Dad, Serena interrupted him. I'm not going back with you. In this life, I belong to Caleb, alive or dead. You ungrateful daughter. Victor shook with rage, pointing a finger at me. Kid, I'll give you one last chance. Here is $10 million. Take the money, get out immediately, and never appear in front of Serena again. The bodyguard behind him extended a check. Another check. Did these people think money could solve everything? I laughed. I stepped forward and took the check from the bodyguard's hand. Serena's face went deadly pale. Victor smiled triumphantly. Then, under their stunned gazes, I ripped the check in half, right in front of Victor's face. Mr. Vance, I threw the confetti-like pieces at his feet. 2 years ago, your wife offered me $1 million. I didn't take it. Today, you offer me $10 million. I still don't give a damn. You want to use money to measure the feelings between Serena and me. I took a step closer, staring him down, not yielding an inch in presence. You aren't qualified. Victor was thoroughly enraged by my action. I tried to do this the easy way, but you're choosing the hard way, he roared. Get him. Break his legs. The 4 bodyguards immediately circled me. Serena screamed, trying to rush forward, but was held back firmly by one of them. I shielded her behind me and faced the 4 large men. I was indeed just a delivery guy, but before delivering food, I had trained in boxing and MMA for 8 years. Dealing with these bodyguards, who were all show and no-go, was more than easy. 3 minutes later, all 4 bodyguards were on the floor, groaning in pain. The apartment was a mess. Victor stared at the scene, jaw dropped, his expression more colorful than if he'd seen a ghost. I walked toward him, step by step. He retreated in terror until his back hit the wall. Nowhere left to run. Now, I looked at him and said, word by word, "Can we have a proper conversation?" Victor left. He practically crawled out. I didn't touch him. I just told him that if he dared to harass me or Serena again, next time, it wouldn't be his bodyguard's legs getting broken. The room returned to quiet. Serena peeked out from behind me, looking at the wreckage on the floor, then at me, her eyes rimmed with red. Caleb, I am sorry. I caused you trouble again. I turned around and pulled her into my arms. Silly girl, what are you talking about? I kissed her forehead. From now on, no one will dare to bully us. After that day, Victor Vance never appeared again. I heard he was completely stripped of all power in the company by Serena and sent to a scenic place to retire. As for me, I quit the delivery job. Serena insisted on opening a company for me, but I refused. Using the savings I'd scraped together over the years, I bought a small bookstore. I like reading, and I like quiet. Serena became the only employee in my bookstore. Her daily job is to sit behind the counter and stare at me quietly. Occasionally, if a female customer tries to flirt with me, she lifts her head, fixes them with those icy, expressionless eyes until they flee in terror. Then, she turns to me, looking aggrieved and pitiful. Master, there was a bug. I walk over and pat her head. It's okay. I chase the bug away. She immediately reveals a satisfied smile, like a cat that just got a treat. I know her madness has never truly disappeared. That paranoia and possessiveness are etched into her soul. But so what? The whole world fears her madness. Only I know that her madness is for me alone. And that is enough. Story complete.